Radical veganism room for this afternoon. So for all of you who have been here for the entire VegFest, suckers. We had you the entire time. No, actually we're really glad to have so many people here, and I'm really glad that all of you are showing up to round out the VegFest experience, especially when there are food vendors downstairs that you could all be getting some last minute goodies from. But today we're closing out VegFest with having Cina Ebrahimi. He is a physicist and applied mathematician, which means that he is exponentially smarter than I am. He's also been involved in numerous human rights campaigns, including Black Lives Matter, Not One More Deportation, among many, many others. But Cina obviously believes that the fight for human liberation is incomplete without the fight for animal liberation being included. So we're really honored to have him here today, doing his presentation on how intersectionality has been misused in order to uphold speciesism. So thank you very much, Cina Ebrahimi.
Is this reflecting on the screen? On the projector?
All right. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So as Christopher said, my name is Cina Ebrahimi. I'm from Seattle, Washington, which is also occupying Squamish and Squamish territories. So my talk is kind of stemming from some observations I've made over the last 2 years or so, and it's also building off of a paper that Christopher wrote almost 2 years ago now, called Yes to Intersectionality, Boo to Intersectional Vegans. How many of you have come across people who identify as intersectional vegans or ask if you are an intersectional vegan or believe in intersectionality? Okay, cool. So this is going to be more how, this is not so much a critique of intersectionality because I think it is a good tool for analysis. It's more how people have misused it, as the title suggests, to uphold speciesism. And so, just to start, so since this is based off of something Christopher wrote, I don't want to assume everyone's on the same page. So let's do a brief overview. So what is intersectionality? So intersectionality, the analysis tool, was a term and a concept developed by Kimberly Crenshaw back in about 1987. So up to that point, the civil rights movement was really kind of only focused on black and brown men, and to some degree the Black Lives Matter movement is kind of focused on that too, where a lot of the focus is just on black men. So black and brown women were kind of being left out a lot. And within the feminist movement, black and brown women were also being left out of that a lot too, because they weren't dealing with the same things that white women were dealing with. So they were kind of losing out in every equation. So Kimberly Crenshaw, a law professor at Columbia University in New York, came up with this concept of intersectionality where it highlights the different experiences that black and brown women go through based on their positionality as women of color. Yeah. So I think intersectionality is a great idea, and my problem with it isn't the idea itself. It's just that it has a very specific meaning that belongs to black and brown women, stemming from black feminism. And intersectionality, even though the term was coined in 1987, it existed in practice far longer than that. In 1974, I believe, Angela Davis, who apparently is also vegan, wrote a really good book called Race, Gender, and Class that talks about what we would call intersectionality. Bell Hooks has done a lot of work too that we could call intersectionality. And speciesism. I'm guessing most of you probably know what speciesism is, but no one gets left behind. So speciesism is just this idea that certain people, for lack of a better term, have more or less moral worth depending on their species membership. this is really basic, just let me know and I'll go along. I just don't want to talk over opinions and assume they know anything. Based on their moral species membership. And a more apt term, I think, that kind of highlights the idea of how people of privilege can only really benefit from those power structures is the assumption of human supremacy leading to the exploitation of other animals, other being non-human animals. So, about 2 years ago, a lot of people were talking about, hey, animal advocacy needs to be a lot more intersectional or pro-intersectional. We've been dealing a lot with single-issue animal advocacy, things like that. And because a lot of animal advocacy, particularly mainstream animal advocacy, was kind of just focusing on animal rights, much to the detriment of other social movements. And what that's done for the animal rights movement itself is very questionable. A lot of single-issue campaigns, I'm not going to get into right now, that upheld other systems of oppression, you could very well argue, didn't even do anything for the cause of animal advocacy. So people decided that, hey, as animal advocates, we're social justice advocates, so we need to get serious about supporting other social movements and also showing the interconnectedness of oppression between anti-speciesist advocacy and other forms of oppression such as anti-racist, anti-sexist, and so many other social movements out there. And this was a good idea at first. I was very much down with it. I got involved in a lot of human rights related issues long before I became vegan, most notably with the anti-war movement that happened when 2005, 2006 or so, in the United States. But over time, I've kind of noticed that people have been using intersectionality, or misusing intersectionality, kind of further perpetuate the oppression of non-human animals. So I don't know why I put these two screenshots on the same slide. They should have each gotten their own slide, but I did it, so we're just going to deal with it. So the slide on the left here, this is someone who is saying that they believe that vegans have a responsibility to support indigenous hunting and fishing rights. And that when vegans attack indigenous communities for carrying out the traditional cultural practices, they're upholding white supremacy and settler-colonialism. But right after that, they say that there are indigenous vegans who they believe we need to honor and support, and that plant-based living and veganism has been a thing long before white people got wind of it, which is true. So there's a lot to unpack there. And while I agree that people of privilege going out of their way to attack communities of color for what they do can be, for lack of a better word, problematic. I don't like to use that word too much, I'm going to use it here. The natural consequence of that doesn't need to be supporting things that we wouldn't be okay with had anyone else been doing it. Ultimately, what I'm saying is, if you think a certain practice is wrong, then it really shouldn't matter who's doing it. That looks good in theory, but in this kind of non-colorblind world we live in, that doesn't always look good in practice. But if we think something is wrong, it shouldn't matter who's doing it. On the right is a person who says that they don't like the word speciesism at all because they feel like it's trying to draw parallels between racism, and they believe that we can advocate for non-humans without drawing parallels between animals to people of color. So, like the image on the left, there was kind of a jump in logic there, where they said, I don't like drawing parallels between speciesism or racism because it's drawing parallels between animals and people of color. So it's assuming a lot. Christopher a lot has talked about this, and he has said that comparing systems of oppression is not the same thing as comparing victims of oppression. But just food for thought, let's say that we were comparing, and I don't want to get too much into this because it's going tangential to my talk, but let's say that we were comparing the victims. On what basis are we getting offended at that? Because really the only reason why we ever get offended at being compared to someone else is we think we're better than them. And if we think that we're better than someone, that kind of gets to the root of the problem anyway. Why do we think we're better than them in the first place? So, this is a problem because Julia Felice-Bruick, who gave a very good explanation of consistent anti-oppression, made it very clear that if we are to believe and say that we stand against all forms of oppression, then we can't just say we actually have to do it. And going back to 2 slides ago, we were talking about how people have thought that upholding single-issue animal advocacy has led to upholding other forms of oppression, which is true. But there is such a thing as going in the other direction, where we're trying so hard to fight against other forms of oppression that we're very willing, in this speciesist society that we live in, that we're very willing to kind of just throw non-humans under the bus to kind of show our stripes. And this is an issue because if we're going to address speciesism as a legitimate form of oppression, then we need to treat it the same way. Well, no, that's not true. I don't think we can advocate for speciesism the same way we advocate against racism, just like we can't advocate against racism the same way we would advocate against sexism. They're different forms of oppression, and dismantling them isn't always going to look the same. I guess what I mean when I say we need to look at it the same way is viewing it as something else that needs to be dismantled. Like all other forms of oppression, it is something that involves power structures, and the power structure here is humans and non-human animals. Within the context of just humans, there's obviously other power dynamics that affect that, but between humans and other animals, there is a huge power differential. And we need to understand that if we're going to be serious about dismantling speciesism. And also with other forms of oppression, we can't come up with reasons for why it's okay or why it can be put on a back burner. I don't think any of us, or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If you think this way, please feel free to say so. I don't think any of us would be okay with putting any sort of thing that we're serious about dismantling on the back burner. We all think these are things to dismantle. Julia and Carol Adams made it very clear that someone's advocacy in one area shouldn't be more important than their oppressive behaviors. So consistent anti-oppression means exactly that, consistent anti-oppression, not occasional anti-oppression. So I included this because this is something where we're from that gets brought up a lot. People, and on online spaces too. Well, what about non-white cultures? What about cultures that use animals in a way that don't involve animal agriculture, is done through something other than this kind of biopolitical commodification of the flesh that's done for capitalist gain? It's a loaded question. And I would argue, and this is anecdotal, that all cultures, when it comes to non-men, certain religious minorities, all have certain cultural practices that we would consider oppressive. And we wouldn't excuse these things on the basis that, oh, well, it's part of their culture, so it's okay. Now, some of us might say, well, I disagree with this, I think this is wrong, but I have a lot of issues in my own community that I'm going to focus on, so it wouldn't make any sense for me to go out of my way and do anything about what other people are doing. I think that's legitimate, but I think we need to be careful into not saying that we support these things just out of this fear of not looking racist or bigoted. Because what this does is not only does it erase the legitimate victimhood that happens in these systems, but it puts more of an emphasis on looking like we're not racist rather than actually not being racist. So there is a difference. Going on that question, I should have included a picture of the cover of this book. It's a great book. If you want to come up and talk to me about it, we can. It's in my backpack. This is an excerpt from a book called Dangerous Crossings, Race, Species, and Nature in a Multicultural Age. It's written by Claire Jean Kim. She is a vegan woman of color who is a professor at the University of California, Davis in the United States. And this is very small, so I'm just going to read it to you. And I don't know how well people can see in a large room like this, but in the context of, oh, well, what about, non-white cultures about this? And this is something that comes up a lot when we're trying to balance our animal advocacy with our anti-racist advocacy. So it says, why should disadvantage along one dimension, such as race and culture, translate into relative immunity along another, such as sex or species? This only makes sense if one assumes without argument that the dimension of race or culture is so much more important than the others that we must refrain from the critique about sex or species for fear of aggravating racial or cultural marginalization. If we see multi-optically, however, we understand that this argument has not been made conclusively, and perhaps cannot be, so that racially or culturally subordinated groups do not have, by virtue of that subordination, a quote-unquote get-out-of-jail-free card that licenses their participation in other forms of domination and exempts them from moral critique. Unjust disadvantage in one sphere does not earn unjust advantage in another. Having endured racism and colonialism, subjects deserve justice and reparations from their oppressors, but they do not deserve to dominate women, animals, and nature. We need only consider what it would look like to take the get-out-of-jail-free card logic to the extreme. Only white, affluent, straight, able-bodied men would be fair game for criticism, and everybody else would be free to engage in unlimited exploitative practices of impunity. To recognize that is not morally tenable. So it's a loaded statement, but it is very thought-provoking. And in looking at human and non-human relations as a taxonomy of power, just like white and non-white, male and non-male, it really gets to the base of that while marginalized racial minorities, black, brown, indigenous, well, black and brown a lot of time are indigenous as well. Often, or I shouldn't say often, I would say to some degree, still benefit from the fact that they are human, although you wouldn't guess it a lot by looking how a lot of black and brown people are treated today. They're often treated as less than human, because in our society, anyone who isn't white is not considered human. But human privilege is a thing, as Julie Felice talked about yesterday. And while we can look at how racialized minorities and people of different genders and so many other different taxonomies of power are oppressed in a lot of ways, we can't ignore the fact that people who are oppressed can be agents of oppression themselves. I believe it was Afro who said that too. And it's a very true statement. So I think we really need, I feel like it's very dangerous to say, well, I'm oppressed, so I can't do anything wrong in this other area, and vice versa. Because we can all turn around and step.
I'm Jewish, and most of my stopped using Holocaust comparisons because I'm afraid people will tell me on that I shouldn't compare it because it's disrespectful to Jewish people who died in the Holocaust.
You're a Jewish person.
I'm a Jewish person. My family died in the Holocaust, but I won't make those comparisons anymore because I know people are going to tell me off for it. And that's what it just made me think of just now. I think that's really silly.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that. Like, I mean, because like, it's really funny. Like, we were talking about this all throughout the day. Like, if you've been joining us throughout all the presentations and panels of the day, like, there's a lot to be said for, like, like what communities have what conversations around speciesism and how those conversations manifest. And someone else, I think it was you earlier, who was talking about, like, how, like, a lot of the dialogue that we have around, like, around Jewish people and, like, the exploitation of other animals actually came from Jewish people, like, in the popular discourse. And now we kind of come full circle, and it's like, well, no one should say that other than including Jewish people, which is really sending a very mixed message.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the kind of communication that we're having with the lack of. So thank you.
On that point, so in the context of non-white cultures and how they use other animals, about a year and a half ago, not long after Christopher wrote his article, Intersectionality, Intersectional Veganism, I was in this animal rights group where I was going to school, and this group was totally jumping on the whole intersectional veganism bandwagon. And it was all white people deciding what it was intersectional. And one of the people in the group, a white lady, was talking about how she was in support of one of the local First Nations renewing their tradition of hunting gray whales. And I was like, why would you be in support of that? They admitted they don't need it for subsistence, like the Inuit up in like the Arctic. They were doing it just to preserve the tradition. So why do you, as an animal advocate, 10 minutes ago we were trying to stop the university we were going to, at the time, from stopping its animal testing. How did you go from talking about that to saying that it's okay to kill whales because it's part of someone's tradition? And this person said, well, it's part of the tradition and indigenous people are closer to nature, something like that. She gave me some ridiculous like white guilt explanation about how only white people can be provocateurs of species or practitioners of speciesism. I was like, what are you talking about? That's not true. And she told me, a white person was telling me, oh, I think you need to study white supremacy more as speciesism. So when you said that people told you, a Jewish person who has family who were victims of the Holocaust, and you can't use your own family history to articulate your animal advocacy, just brought me back to that. So thank you for sharing that.
I have a comment on that because, sorry, is that your microphone? Come on. Well, okay, so this is like a very common thing, and it's particularly common for like white people in social justice spaces to do that. So to basically, like, sorry, I'm adding on to your stuff. So to claim that, oh, indigenous people can do that because that's just their tradition. Like this white woman on Twitter, she actually went up and she's like, as a vegan, it's very important for me to like animal treated well. Like, you're not a vegan, you're a fucking walkerist. Let's get that first off. Second of all, her saying like, you know, I had a person who was native and they came into my house and were like, yeah, like they asked like, can I eat meat here? And she was like, of course, like this is your land. And it's kind of like, on that premise, then like anybody could, you know, any native person could go into like a house and like shoot at people because like, hey, like you're fucking, you know, it was a ridiculous kind of like, okay, and it's like, well, you know, they're connected to the animals. It's like, so they couldn't wait and go ritualistically kill this animal since they care so much about it. They had to come into your vegan home, have flesh, and you, because you feel so guilty about being white and just being like, no, this is totally against my morals. And it's something that like was like supported by social justice people being like, see, this is how like vegans should be. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, it really isn't.
I mean, so if white vegans want to say that's how they should be, fine, I mean, whatever. I completely disagree with that, but for them to go into other communities, black and brown meat and say, hey, you should support this, when they're already saying it's not okay for people who don't need indigenous communities and place these expectations on them. It is just the most contradictory thing you could say. I don't understand how you should say that attacking people for doing something a certain way is upholding white supremacy, but then you're going to uphold white supremacy. I don't know. It's just goes in this weird circle of.
And like saying that like these people are inherently closer to nature, that is an aspect of providing an analogy to indigenous people who have already been like, oh, we're closer to animals anyway.
Well, I think what it is this idea that there is such thing as positive stereotypes.
Yeah.
There is a way of stereotyping people that isn't racist or offensive. And the fact is there isn't. How is saying that indigenous people are closer to nature or closer to animals any different than saying, all black people are good at basketball, or all Asians are good students? I just don't understand where.
It's fetishism of makeup people.
That's exactly what it is.
That's all it is.
That's exactly what it is.
While we're actually having that conversation, while we're on that topic, Cina, point of clarification, can you tell us, like, what's your position on not using hunting as like a point of connecting with one's culture, but what's your position on subsistence hunting?
What is my position on subsistence hunting?
That's the question.
Well, okay. So my position on subsistence hunting, as it's defined, is
Can
if
you
people.
define that before you like?
What?
Can you define it?
Can I what?
Define it.
Oh, so subsistence hunting, my understanding, is when people who live in a certain area where no other sources of food are available, so they'll engage in hunting practices in order to provide food for themselves and their community, which is fine, and I don't feel totally comfortable with that, but I certainly don't think it's okay for me to tell other people what they should do in order to survive. At the same time, though, I know a lot of people who call themselves subsistence hunters, who live in urban areas, live nearby to grocery stores, but will fly out to, out of state for that moose season in Vermont or that elk season in Colorado, but because they use every part of the animal and they feed their family with it, they feel justified in calling themselves subsistence hunters.
Right.
So based on the definition I just gave you, yeah, I think it's something that can be defended. But a lot of people who call themselves subsistence hunters really aren't what they like to think that they are.
Yeah, that's an important distinction that I wanted to make sure that that people understood, because I think that when you're having discussions like this, we have to make sure that everybody is on the same page with things. And I think that oftentimes people don't have an understanding of the difference between people who are legitimately subsistence hunting and people who are who are performing subsistence hunting or being performative in their in these cultural practices. So yeah, having that as a baseline is really important. Who else has questions? Yes, we're not going to make it more. I started this conference because there are a lot of questions to ask.
So you're talking about the difference, or potentially lack thereof, between anti-racism, anti-sexism movements, etc., and then anti-speciesism. And I was wondering, do you see there being a difference in terms of sort of considered best practice for example, anti-sexism is to uplift the voices of the oppressed rather than speaking over them, whereas obviously there is difficulty in doing that in terms of speciesism, we have to end up speaking to the animals rather than uplifting what they, obviously we think they probably don't want to be killed, but we can't talk to their greater, that other wants and needs and things. So I was wondering if you could talk on that difference.
What exactly is the question? So with things like anti-sexism or anti-racism, we can let that community speak for themselves without talking over them. But in the case of non-human animals, we don't really have a choice to not talk to them or not because they don't really have a medium to talk. Is that what you're asking?
Well, does that in your mind create a fundamental difference in those movements, or can they be seen as the same thing, just different? The same style of movement, just different ways of perpetuating that movement?
Yes, I think it does make them different, but I think we really need to be careful to define what it is we mean when we say something is different. In a lot of intersectional vegan spaces, people will object to certain comparisons, saying that they're not the same thing, but in my interpretation, this could be wrong, that's kind of just coded language for saying that's not as bad as that. So when people say racism and speciesism aren't the same thing, I agree that they're not the same thing, just like how racism and sexism aren't the same thing. But when people say that racism and speciesism aren't the same, I kind of just see that as a backdoor way of saying that, well, one is better or worse than the other. So I don't know if that answers your question, but you're right. I feel like animal advocacy, kind of just by nature, is an allied movement. You know, just because Layla, do you want to raise your hand? You're already exposed who you are. They were saying very well themselves that veganism is really a lifestyle choice made by humans. And while being vegan can make it very annoying to have people make jokes about you and not being able to access food certain places, at the end of the day, you are not in a vivisectional ad. We're not in a slaughterhouse. We're not being chased through the woods by someone trying to shoot us in the head. Things like that. So we're not oppressed by being vegan. We're oppressed in other ways because we all have different overlapping identities, but a lifestyle decision such as veganism doesn't make us oppressed.
Yeah, I just want to yesterday called Animal Resistance, and basically
You are?
Oh, I am Dan Cookie.
You wrote a good article. You wrote a good article, by the way.
Okay.
As a matter of fact,
I've only read one of them.
Not on that topic, but yeah. So basically, animals do absolutely and fundamentally have a voice. They do communicate very clearly that they are opposed to the injustices that they face. Animals have every single animal engages in passive resistance against their own oppression by ignoring commands and orders, foot dragging when they're due to go into the slaughterhouse truck, flapping their wings when they're due to have their throat cut. They very clearly do communicate that they're opposed, and at times they also communicate their opposition in quite dramatic fashion as well. An example would be a time when a horse, which Leila mentioned in the last presentation that she gave, refused to race on 7 consecutive occasions because they had just had enough of the industry that was forcing them to run with someone on their back, and they stood there boldly and said no. So what we can do as animal activists is not deny that they have voices and not then say that there's a difference between the animal liberation movement and the feminist movement, but rather to actually listen out and hear what they are communicating to us, spending time with them and really, really listening, because they do absolutely communicate, and it's our responsibility as activists and allies to them to elevate those voices and to ensure that they are interpreted in the correct way and not deliberately misinterpreted.
I would. This just came to mind. I would recommend reading a book called Fear of the Animal Planet.
by.
I can't. The name.
Oh, I put you on the spot. I'm so sorry. It's my bad.
You can come up to me and ask, and I'll look it up.
It's
I read it years ago.
It's by a guy called Jason Bridle.
That's it.
And Dan, your article that you wrote, the one that's probably popular, that all of us will share right now.
The one that's got you kicked out, like blocked from like 10 Facebook groups.
All of us.
Yeah.
The radical left's top 10 objections to veganism and why they suck.
That's it.
That's him. Don't we all, right? Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns, anxiety, apprehensions, emotional outbursts? Now is the time.
Death threats.
That comes later. They never realize in the very front.
Hi, sorry, I missed the beginning of your speech. I apologise if you mentioned it. Actually, I just wanted, I think it's really interesting people's own vegan journeys. What is your own journey to veganism and social justice, and if you don't mind talking about that?
How much longer are you willing to stay here?
We have to close up the venue and turn off the lights at 5.
Yeah. As far as being vegan or getting involved in animal advocacy goes, I think I kind of always felt like there was something wrong about eating other animals. I'll say eating because that was really the only type of animal use that came to mind. It wasn't until much later that I kind of became more aware of animal exploitation as it relates to clothing, certain things that we use like toothpaste, shampoo, and whatnot. But since my only conscious connection to it was through food, I kind of always felt like there was something wrong about it. But I kind of did it anyway because it became really easy to ignore that when there was, you know, food that I really liked on the table. Or when we went out to a certain restaurant. And I think we all do that where we make really bad decisions against our better judgments. Not just when it comes to veganism or anything like that, but anything. I still screw up a lot when it comes to a lot of things. Being a, you know, cisgendered male, I can tell you right now, I screw up a lot. I'm gonna continue to do so, very most likely. So my journey to veganism, I've only been vegan about 5 years, so not very long. And even during the time that I was engaged in a lot of animal advocacy work, I wasn't vegan. I remember a lot of times where I was at a protest against a animal testing facility. 10 minutes later, I was eating some chicken wings. So there was a lot of compartmentalization that went on. Yeah. That was a very poor answer to the question, I think. Yeah. Julia Felice-Brewage is writing another book, and supposedly I wrote something that's in the pyramid where I think I talk about that, but you know, we can talk about that afterwards.
Okay, we got time for like one more question. I find a gentleman.
So I have a question for Elizabeth Dan.
Right there.
Yeah, so I see you wearing the Liberation Pledge bracelet. That's what I kind of a question about that. I'm not sure if people addressed it in the talk at another point in the weekend. But I'm just kind of thinking about it. I've heard people are doing it. I sometimes think about that. Especially someone like you who's incredibly intelligent and gifted at constructing arguments in favour of veganism, how you see removing yourself from dinner tables and having those kind of conversations, how you see that as being, how you kind of justify that decision to do the Liberation Pledge.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep it brief because I don't want to take up too much space for Cina. But the Liberation Pledge is a pledge to not sit at a table where people are eating animal products. The reason I do it is because we need a fundamental shift in society in the way that animals are spoken about. And when we claim to be anti-speciesist, or claim to be vegan, or claim to be morally opposed to their oppression, and sit there at a table laughing and joking while people are consuming the dead bodies that we claim to be wanting to save, liberate, it sends a complete contradictory message. And it completely devalues it as a social movement, that we're willing to sit in what is very, very visceral violence. And so by objecting to it and removing ourselves from that situation, we are making something that is totally normalised and denormalising it, saying no, this is actually violence, so much so that I want to sit in the presence. If there was sexism or racism or heterosexism taking place, I would object to it, and if it continued, I would leave that space in order to make a stand. So that is all I do, and that's why I do the Liberation Pledge. Ultimately, if every single vegan did that, or at least even a small number of vegans did it, it would completely shift the conversation around animal oppression, and it would legitimise it as a social justice issue. So I encourage everyone to take the Liberation Pledge. It's quite hard, but it becomes very normal very quickly, and your friends will forgive you for it, and we will accommodate it. I can, say things to it.
Alright, any other questions? Proceed. Yes? One more question about this?
Yeah.
Can we have a personal conversation afterwards, or is this the end of the talk?
Sure, sorry.
People are going to Bob Dan anyway, probably. Anything else? All right, excellent. Thank you all for joining us for the last talk for the Radical Veganism Room at UK VegFest London 2018. I hope to see you all again here next year. It's been a phenomenal experience. I really enjoyed seeing it. Along with Tom Lane over here from Time Waste Live. It's been a really long weekend, and some of your faces I've seen you in here all weekend, right along. And you've been a tremendous support. We really, really appreciate it. And Cina, just one more hand for Cina Ebrahimi, everyone. Thank you all so much. Get out there, get warm, talk to us over the food hall. Thank you again.